That was beautiful. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to Olympia Brown Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Jennifer Simpkins. My pronouns are she, hers. I'm your worship assistant for this morning. It is good to be together. Welcome. Welcome new friends. Welcome longtime friends. Take a moment to wave to our friends joining us online. We come to this place this morning, glorious with differences, and yet here we all are, united by the love which is the center of our faith, united by a future that we know is coming, but we do not yet see, one we are committed to bringing into being. In this church, all of who you are is welcome, but more than that, all of who you are is celebrated, embraced, delighted in. We delight in your gender euphoria. When you look in the mirror and your face beams with joy, our hearts are joyful with you. We celebrate how love has shown up in your life and the people you call family. We are thankful for the countries, cultures, and communities that have shaped you. We celebrate the work that you are doing and your place in the fight, whatever your role may be. We honor the road that brought you here and are grateful for the time we will walk side by side. We hold tender the pieces of you that are raw. All of who you are is welcome, even those raw places, especially those raw places. Welcome this morning to all of us. Welcome our rough edges, our boisterous laughs, our ridiculous, beautiful hearts. Welcome. May we see the beloved community that we believe in because we created here first. We begin this morning with our shared ritual, the lighting of our chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. Thank you to Cody, for being our chalice lighter this morning. Our words are by Rebecca Edmondson Lang. Come into this place which we make holy by our presence. Come in with all your vulnerabilities and strengths, fears and anxieties, loves and hopes. For here you do not need to hide, nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into this place where we can touch and be touched, heal and be healed, forgive and be forgiven. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, the compassionate is expected. Come into this place. Together we make it a holy place. Now you can join us in singing hymn number 389 in the gray hymnal.
And now it's time for the message for all ages, so if all the children and those young at heart can come on forward. Look, we have Tony behind us, the most childish person here. Oh, childlike. Sorry. Okay. So today's story is called The Lady in the Box by Anne McGovern. There was a lady who slept in a box down our street. Before dark, she sat in her box in front of the Circle Deli. She just sat and stared. When the sky got black, she curled up in her box. I think she slept in the box all night. She must have liked the Circle Deli because of the warm air from the basement that came through the grate. Do you see her? She looked like a kind, nice lady. I smiled at her. Just yesterday, I thought she smiled back. Maybe she didn't. Maybe I just wish she had. The lady in the box looked hungry. It was Lizzie's idea to bring her food. I reminded Lizzie that we can't talk to strangers. Lizzie said we wouldn't talk to her. We'd just put some crackers and peanut butter next to her box. I thought she should eat food that was good for her, so I brought her 2 raw carrots, a bunch of celery, and an apple. Lizzie said the lady in the box didn't have many teeth, not enough for chewing hard food. So Lizzie thought vegetable noodle soup was better. I thought celery soup. We had a fight about it. Lizzie won. We heated up the vegetable soup and ran down the stairs fast to get it to her before the soup got cold. Then we ran home before Mama could tell we were up to something again. Mama says we're always up to something. The lady in the box didn't have warm enough clothes. We looked in our closets. On Lizzie's shelf was a big warm scarf with bright red flowers. Lizzie said she didn't like the scarf because it was so itchy. I wasn't sure the lady in the box would like it either, but it was better than the cold wind blowing on her neck. We left it outside her box. Later, we saw the scarf wrapped around her neck. Maybe she likes red flowers. She called after us. My name is Dory. Thanks. My name is Lizzie, Lizzie said. My brother is Ben, and you're welcome. I was worrying about Mama's rule about speaking to strangers. Now that we know her name, she's not exactly a stranger, I said to Lizzie. She nodded. The next day, it was freezing cold. Let's see here. We want that one. The next day, it was freezing cold. Sorry. The owner of the Circle Deli came out of his store. Get away from here, he shouted at Dory. I don't want you sitting in front of my store anymore. People are complaining. Dory had to move. She set up her box in front of an empty store down the street, but no warm air came up from the basement there. She began to shiver. Her lips looked sort of blue. Lizzie said it was about 10 degrees above zero. We have to do something, Lizzie said, or she'll freeze to death. We could bring her some of our blankets, I said. That's dumb, Lizzie said. Mama would find out for sure. We were quiet as we climbed the 2 flights of stairs to our apartment. I figured Lizzie was thinking about the same thing I was thinking about, telling Mama or not telling Mama. But when we got home, it was Mama who told us a thing or two. It's not easy to fool Mama. Where were the cans of soup that were missing? She wanted to know. Why was the flowered scarf gone? She asked us what we were up to. We decided to tell her. Maybe if she met the lady in the box, she would know how to help her. Mama didn't get mad and yell at us. Instead, she sighed and said, okay, let's see your lady in the box. The 3 of us went downstairs and around the corner. Mama knocked on the box. Come on out, she said in her no-nonsense tone of voice. I want to meet you. Dory started to talk to us. She told us about losing her job and not being able to pay her rent, so she had to leave her apartment. She said she tried to stay in a shelter for homeless women, but someone there stole her bag of clothes while she was sleeping. After that, she slept in a box on the street. Mama marched to the deli. We had to run to catch up. When she saw the owner, Mama began to give it to him. She said that Christmas was coming soon and that it was freezing cold outside, and she used words like human kindness and simple charity until he said, okay, she can stay. We told Dory she could move her box back to the Circle Deli where it was warm. She had a big smile. We climbed up to our apartment, but all I could think about was helping Dory. But how? When Mama came in to kiss me goodnight, I told her I wanted to help Dory more, but I didn't know how to do it. Mama said she'd think of something and go to sleep now. When Saturday came, Mama asked if we wanted to help in the neighborhood soup kitchen. Homeless people get free lunches there, she said. The soup kitchen was in a church basement. The line to get in was long. I felt sad that there were so many people needing soup. My job was to put a piece of bread on a pat of butter on a paper plate. Lizzie's job was to hand the plate to the people in line. Mama's job was dishing out cup after cup of soup. I was so busy doing my job that I almost didn't hear my name being called. I looked up to see Dory in line. She smiled at me. "Hello, Ben," she said quietly. "Hi, Dory," I said, smiling back. "Who is your friend?" the helper next to me said. "Friend? Nobody ever called Dory my friend before. It sounded nice. Maybe someday," I thought, Dory wouldn't have to live in her box. Maybe she could get a job and a place on her own. She'd have a key just like I have a key to our apartment. I reached in my pocket and took out my lucky key ring. It has a plastic four-leaf clover on it. I took off my key and gave my new friend Dory the key ring with the four-leaf clover. Maybe it would bring her luck. Maybe someday she could use it for her very own key. So the important part of the story is not only helping people that need help, right? But I think the other important part in this story is if you see people that need help, especially when you're your age, tell your mom, tell your dad. Because if you guys want to help somebody, your mom and your dad and your grandma and grandpa are definitely going to want to do that too. And they're going to have lots of ideas. We had another story like that once about the little girl that her friend didn't have any food, and she took food out of the refrigerator and she gave Maddie's, that was the girl's name. And again, she didn't want her to tell her mom, but eventually she told her mom, and then her mom bought groceries. So tell your mom and dad or your grandma and grandpa if you think there's people around you that need help, because they're going to want to help. Okay, so now it's time for the children's blessing. We are blessed. We are blessed by being. We are blessed by being here. We are blessed by being here together.
There are many ways we give to the life of the church, and the monetary offering is just one of these ways. Each month, we partner with a local organization and share the money we collect. Our partner for August is Music and More. Since the first concert in June of 1994, the mission of Music and More has been to provide free, high-quality musical entertainment, diverse in style, to the community, to give regional musicians an opportunity to perform in an acoustically superior venue in the historic sanctuary of First Presbyterian Church here, to bring more people to the downtown area to enjoy restaurants, shops, and attractions after the concerts, and to fund local nonprofit agencies through free will offerings collected at the concerts. The money that you donate will be given to the musicians to help make sure that they get paid for their beautiful efforts here every week. More information to find out how to give can be found on the back of your order of service or on our website, OBUUC.org. Thank you, as always, for your generosity. Part of being in community is sharing our joys and sorrows with one another. We draw strength from celebrating the joys in each other's lives and lending support, comfort, and care when we experience one of life's many sorrows. We offer you 2 different ways to express joys and sorrows that may be on your heart this morning, spoken and unspoken. If you would like to share a spoken joy or sorrow, I'll ask you to come forward to the microphone first, or you may raise your hand and a microphone will be brought to you. Once the spoken joys and sorrows are finished, you may come forward and light a candle to represent an unspoken joy or sorrow that is on your heart. Please remember that our service is being streamed online, so please be sure that any spoken joy or sorrow you share is one you're comfortable with sharing with a wider community than those just inside these walls with us this morning. Those of you that would like to share spoken joys or sorrows may come forward at this time.
Abby Summer, she, her. I'm not usually down here, but since I know I probably won't be here to say this next week, and because teachers go back to school this week, I just want everyone to keep in mind charter schools, private schools, public schools, all those teachers, all those kids. I don't care where you go to school, it's a hard time to be in education as either an educator or a student. So please send all your thoughts, your wishes, your support, your help, and your hope for a good beginning of a new school year.
Jane Stevens, she, her. I want to tell Alejandro that when he wasn't here on the 1st of August, there was a moment of sheer panic in the congregation. It was like, oh my gosh, what happened to him? I'm grateful for all the wonderful substitutes that we did, but welcome back and thank you for what you do.
And if you'd like to come forward and light a candle for an unspoken joy or sorrow, you may come forward at this time. We light a final candle for the joys and sorrows that are on the hearts of our beloveds joining us online. There is a love holding us always. May we rest in that love. Amen and blessed be. Invited to join us in singing There Is a Love. The words are in your order of service. Our reading this morning is by Susan Frederick Gray and Erica Hewitt. We know that hurt moves through the world, perpetrated by action, inaction, and indifference. Our values call us to live in the reality of the heartbreak of our world, remembering that
no one is outside the circle of love.
We who are Unitarian Universalists not only affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, we also affirm the inherent wholeness of every being, despite apparent brokenness.
No one is outside the circle of love.
We know that things break or break down. Promises, friendship, sobriety, hope, communication. This breaking happens because our human hearts and our very institutions are frail and imperfect. We make mistakes. Life is messy.
No one is outside the circle of love.
With compassion as our guide, we seek the well-being of all people. We seek to dismantle systems of oppression that undermine our collective humanity. We believe that we're here to guide one another toward love.
No one is outside the circle of love.
No matter how fractured we are or once were, we can make whole people of ourselves. We are whole at our core because of the great unnameable, sometimes inconceivable love in which we live.
No one is outside the circle of love.
Our sermon this morning is by the Reverend Tanya E. Marquez. I believe in the power of words to help us see the invisible. One of my favorite anecdotes about the power of words is when I was teaching Spanish at a community college, and when I corrected my students' translation of community college from Colegio Comunitario to Universidad Comunitaria. Of course, that comes from the fact that in Spanish-speaking countries, the concept of community college doesn't exist, and after high school, students go to a university. The sudden realization that they were indeed taking university-level classes was priceless. It transformed how they saw themselves and understood the work they were doing. Right, because you've probably heard debates about why a university is better than a community college. And I'm sure you have your own stories about words that have transformed or impacted your lives because they offered a reframing, an answer you were seeking, or just the ability to name something you had noticed, but for which you had no word to describe it. I have had several of those throughout my life, words that have allowed me to move forward in life, that have unstuck me from a difficult place, or have opened the door to possibility. So there are words that can suddenly reshape our relationship to the world in both a positive or a negative way. Today, I'll introduce a word that may be new to many of you, but let me give you some background and context first. One day, a couple years ago, in a meeting with my spiritual director, I had a sudden realization. I had been sharing for years my story of a time I moved to Mexico City to study theology, that it was during the period of time that marked the beginning of my journey to leave the Catholic faith. I had always shared about my feeling out of place and losing my faith, but always left something out. I hadn't shared that I didn't have the money to pay for college. To go to Mexico, I had worked hard for a year and had saved all my money to pay for my first semester of classes and to pay for housing. But once in Mexico, it didn't take me long to realize that I was not going to be able to work and pay for school in Mexico. The university was a private and expensive institution, and I had no scholarships. Most of the scholarships were given to the seminarians and the nuns attending the school, and I was neither. I didn't share that information because I had already internalized the many messages I received growing up about being poor. They are hard to escape. Turn on the television and you see how people are portrayed in movies and TV series. Success is wrapped up in nice clothes, purchasing power, etc. Poverty is pervasively presented as a flaw of the individual. Maybe you've been there already and know this well. It is incredibly expensive to be poor. Because being poor is systematically understood as a flaw in character, those with less resources are often hit with higher interest rates, higher penalties, and higher prices when they can't afford to pay wholesale or bulk prices for items they need. Maybe you never thought of your Costco card and your Costco purchases as a privilege, but they are. But many of the penalties and high prices of housing, schools, and services are so in order to keep those with less purchasing power away. It's a form of segregation. We still love, though, the stories of the one who makes it, who overcomes all adversity and becomes a millionaire. Our culture then uses that narrative as proof that the same possibility exists for all, and those who don't make it didn't work as hard. In many instances, poverty takes away the freedom to choose. I don't think anyone ever told me that I was supposed to feel shame for not having money and for not being able to pay my way through a private university. I don't think anyone had such a conversation with me, but it was not necessary. I had already been acculturated to just know that. It just took paying attention to the way women with food vouchers are looked at, to the annoyance people feel when they find out they're behind someone who has WIC vouchers to pay for their food. To avoid that, several stores dedicated to the exchange of WIC vouchers were created. Women don't have to put up with the dirty looks nor the comments about how long they take. The way people talked about how panhandling was a great way to get money, like the story of a disabled panhandler at the border who posted a picture of himself eating lobster in the tourist town of Porto Novo, and the divided comments about whether he was entitled to such a meal or not. I learned to doubt the ability of a homeless person to make good choices and to offer them food instead of money. In other words, the poor in our communities are often treated paternalistically and as an inconvenience. Most cities have anti-homeless laws that prohibit people from sitting or sleeping on streets, or certain streets, or sleeping in their cars. There are things we can name about people living in poverty, tangible and intangible things like house, car, money, resources, dignity, etc. And as we name them, we can see them and understand them. But while I can point to tangible items and you'll understand them, there are more abstract concepts that require a little more. They are unseen and ideological, and when it comes to ideology, in the words of Adela Cortina, a Spanish philosopher and ethicist, ideology, the more silent it is, the more effective, because it can't even be denounced. It distorts reality by hiding it. The ideology Cortina is pointing out is not new, has been noted by many throughout history. It was noted by the theologians who created the theology of liberation. It was noted by thinkers and activists, by the same people at the center of it, the poor. Every year, Funde, a nonprofit organization for the use of Spanish, chooses the word of the year. Many of the nominated words have to do with technology and the new language it creates. For 2017, however, the word of the year was one coined by Adela Cortina, a word she's been using since the 1990s, but that in today's world acquired a more urgent need for it. According to Fundeo, the word was chosen because of its transformational power. The word is aporophobia, and it means rejection of the poor or fear of poverty. For Cortina, there's an urgency to name the rejection of the poor, of the destitute, because that attitude is strong in social life, and it's even worse because it functions from a place of anonymity, precisely because its indisputable reality has not been recognized. It cannot be deactivated. In her book by the same name, Adela Cortina argues that at the center of this rejection of the poor lies the understanding that the poor don't have anything to offer. The poor is the one that is left outside the possibility of giving something back in a world based on the game of giving and receiving. In this sense, they don't have a choice. Cortina felt the need to create a word that could describe a reality she and others had long noticed. The rise of conservative governments in our country and in other parts of the world that have called For sometimes inhumane measures against refugees and immigrants, she points out, is not just because of xenophobia. Foreigners are not feared merely for being from another country. It doesn't mean xenophobia isn't real, but the point Cortina makes really clear is that there's a rejection of foreigners who are poor. Those who have money to spend are always welcomed. The investors, the business owners, those who are famous too, but the ones who are perceived as in need, those are the ones that are being rejected. Activists and human rights advocates have, for a long time, called attention to the increasing wealth gap in our country, the rich getting more so and the poor getting poorer. Aporophobia also means fear of poverty. Most of us would fear poverty because we know, we've seen how the poor are treated. The lack of access to health care, education, adequate housing, food, and other services. What makes it difficult to deal with complex issues like poverty and its impact on people and communities is that because they are not easy to resolve, people look away, become numb, or are simply not paying attention because those issues are not impacting them or their communities directly. And words are powerful. A word can make us pause and reconsider our understanding of what we see as real. They can make us see things differently. And that matters because we can only try to change what we can see and understand. When I first heard the word aporophobia, it made a lot of sense to me. It's not an easy word, and what makes it even more difficult is the reality that it is pointing to. But it has invited me to reflect on the ways in which I perpetuate this ideology with the choices I make, with the words that I use. What we have before us, what this word challenges us to do, is to reconsider how we understand the world and what role each of us play in perpetuating invisible ideologies that we would otherwise condemn. The good news is that if we can see it and understand it, then it is easier to pay attention to our ways of being, to our interactions, to the way we construct reality with our words and actions. Cortina reminds us, the isolated individual doesn't exist, only humans in relationship with one another. The worst punishment to be given is that of condemning someone to invisibility, to rejection and contempt, and to ignore the existence of the other. This is not news to us. Our Unitarian Universalist faith invites us to affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Her commentary also affirms our human interdependence. We are already connected, not by nationality, not by social status, not by any agreements we have had between us. We are connected before we even knew it by our shared humanity. So if harmful ideologies thrive on invisibility, bringing them to light can be the beginning of transformation for individuals and communities. If the worst punishment is to condemn people to invisibility, then we can begin to heal the wounds in our communities by affirming their existence and recognizing that we are already connected to each other by our shared human experience. The power of a word is that it can make the invisible visible. It can point to hidden ideologies and concepts. And yes, there is a lot of work to do. Aporophobia is only one of the many harmful attitudes and ideologies present in our world today. But I believe when we find the words to name them, to make them visible, we then truly have the opportunity to raise our awareness and to work on creating more compassionate and just communities, to face the evils of society with courage, to transform our relationship with others and with the world, to commit to the work of building a world where no one is outside the circle of love. All right. If you could join us in singing hymn number 1021 in your teal hymnal. Our closing words this morning are from Mark Bellatini. Go in peace. Live simply at home in yourself. Be just in your word, just in deed. Remember the depth of your own compassion. Do not forget your power in the days of your powerlessness. Do not desire to be wealthier than your peers, and never stint your hand at charity. Practice forbearance in all you do. Speak the truth or speak not. Take care of your body. Be good to it. It is a gift. Crave peace for all peoples in this world, beginning with yourselves, and go as you go with the dream of that peace set firm in your heart. Amen. We extinguish the flames in our chalice, but the fire and the light go on in you. This service has ended. Your service begins again. Peace and unrest.
I'm Gregory Mason. It's time for some announcements, and we'll start with Jen.
Hi, just as a member of your worship committee, you can see, because I was doing everything in the service, we could use a couple more people that are willing to lead joys and sorrows, lead the offering, just do the basic readings. It's given to you. So if you're willing to do that part of the service and that element, come see me after the service. I would love to add a couple more names because everybody I reached out to this week is out and it's summer and I get it, it's busy, but we could use just a couple more people to reach out to. Thank you.
The deadline to get announcements in the September Unifier is tomorrow. You are invited to join a breakfast planning meeting for our Social Justice Committee on Saturday, August 30th from 9 to 11 a.m. at First Presbyterian OBUUC Church. There will be information on environmental indigenous activities planned for October, a solitary confinement theater project in November, and much more. Bring your passions and your curiosity as we do our Justice Action Ministry work together. Contact Diane Lang for details or to RSVP. This Labor Day, Monday, September 1st, please join the 8th Principal Committee and other OBUUC members from 3 to 4:30 p.m. at the corner of Highways 20 and 31 to rally for our rights. You can make a sign to show your main policy concerns such as Social Security, immigration, due process, etc. Be a part of resisting the erosion of our democracy. Bring a lawn chair if standing for long periods of time is an issue. If you have questions, contact Roseanne Mason. Brana Woolman and Sandy Berezowitz will have a table set up as you enter for coffee hour today with pencils and a survey with your name on it. Your completion of this survey will help guide the 8th Principal and Social Justice Committee's focus for the future. Please complete and return your survey before leaving today if you have not already done so. And many thanks to all who completed surveys at the OBUUC picnic last Sunday. The Zoom tech team is looking for another person to act as host for the after-service coffee hour on Zoom. This usually involves only one Sunday a month. Please contact Anita Miller if you are interested. Next Sunday is the 5th Sunday of the month, and our entire collection that is undesignated will go to Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. For more information and details about some of these announcements, along with others and community announcements, see your Sunday emails. Thank you to our volunteers today, our ushers, Mike Rood and Steve Hawk, our Zoom host, Patty Riemann, and our coffee hour hosts, Jan Carter, along with Holland and Lorelei Dvorak. That's all for announcements. Please join us in Erman Hall for coffee hour. If you are on YouTube, log into Zoom for your coffee hour. The link is in today's email.